Hello everyone, my name is Himanshu Sharma. In this video, we will be creating a client microservice. And the scenario is there are two microservices where the client microservice will interact with the other microservice which is exposing REST endpoints using reactive approach. So in my previous video, I have demonstrated you how to create the reactive REST endpoints. So let's quickly walk through that video and you see what all is implemented and what we are going to do next. Alright, so in the previous video we created this project where we expose different endpoints, get, post, put, get and delete, where the endpoints are exposed on a WebFlux and we used the reactive approach here. I made a slight modification in this. I added this bootstrap data file. So it will help me in getting some data upfront whenever I start my application. So let's start the application quickly and see how different endpoints are exposed. So so application is started and here you can see the endpoint. So we have a get endpoint and now the expectation is if I right away hit it, it should be giving me the two records, right? Similarly, we have a put endpoint, post endpoint, and then getting an ID, getting a record through ID, and then deleting a book. And for each endpoint, we have also defined our service for updating the book, for saving the book. So the post endpoint will save the book, the put endpoint will update a book, and then find book by ID, and the list books for listing out all the books. And the controller looks like this. So here you can see the get for list is listing the books, post is for saving the book, put is for updating the book, and then another get endpoint to get a particular book by ID, and then a delete endpoint to delete a particular book by ID. Alright, so we leave this project as is, let it run on our machine, and it's currently on port 8080. So the port here is important because we need to configure this thing in our client microservice, and also we need to make sure that client service is not running on the same port. Alright, so let's go ahead and create our client microservice. So let's head to the browser and we are going for the Spring Initializer website. Here we are going to say Maven, and this you can define as per your preference. Language 21, Java, packaging Java, fine. And then dependencies, we are going to need reactive web and Lombok. Alright, so let's quickly walk through the POM before generating. So we have the Spring WebFlux, we have the Lombok and the corresponding test. Alright, so that's all we need. That's it. Go ahead, generate the project and open it in your favorite ID. Alright, so I have the project in my ID, and first let's update a few things. So here, let me change this to YAML. You can use properties if you want. I would prefer YAML. So you can say YAML, and then here you're getting this. So it's going to be like this, and then we need to make sure it is running on a different port. So I'm running it on 8181, and then I'm creating one my custom attribute. So you can define it as per your preference. So I'm defining like book base URL, and what this is the base URL for my main microservice which is exposing the endpoints. So localhost 8080. Alright, so now first we are going to create a config. So we say we define a config package, and here I'm going to create a class client config, and this is going to be a configuration, And here what we are going to do is we will be defining our web client bean. So the first thing is we say final string book base URL, and then second thing is we will be adding it as a constructor parameter, and the value we are expecting it to fetch it from our configuration which we defined over here. We just copy this, go here, we say the read value, and we specify it like this. All right, and what it is saying, unknown class book base, or okay, fine. So this is actually string, fine. All right, so next thing is we need to create a bean. So for that we say web client get web client, and this is going to be a bean, and this will return a web client builder with base URL, book base URL, which we configured in our config. So basically what I'm doing is whenever I'm accessing, I'm getting the web client object, it will be pre-populated with my main URL. And now after that, the only thing I have to do is to append the URL string based on my requirement, whether I'm going for a get book by ID or performing list of all books. Okay, so yeah, we'll see on that. So this is our this is the configuration part. Now the next thing is I'm going to create a client, right? So you can define it as a service package or a client package. So let's define it as a client for now, and here I'm saying that okay, let's make a class client, and I will annotate it as a service, and or right, you know what, let's refactor this, let's make it service only. That will look more in sync with what we are doing. And then here what I'm going to do is I will rename file. All right, and then yeah, that's all. All right, so book client service I'm creating, and what this book client service will do, this is the service responsible to interact with my main book service. Okay, so first thing is we need our web client bean which we have created, and then we will use constructor parameter here. All right, so this is what we have to do, and the endpoints, so I'm pasting it over here, and let's comment it for now. All right, so these are the endpoints which we need to interact with, right? All right, so first here is list books. So for list books, the first approach is I'm saying okay, flux of string, and I'll tell you why I'm saying string. List books string. Okay, all right, so here I'm saying list books as string. Okay, and then another approach to call the same endpoint is I will say, instead of a string, give me a let's say map first. Okay, and then here I'm going to say map, and this one will become list books map. All right, and the third approach for this one is we are going to say list books as JSON node. Okay, and then JSON node. Okay, so why I'm showing these three approaches is these are the scenarios where you are not aware about the schema, what you are getting from the microservice. Okay, you are aware about the endpoint, but you are not sure what kind of data and what will be the structure of the data. So in that case, you can use either of these three approaches based on your need. Okay, and the fourth approach is directly using the exact schema where you are aware about that. So to get that data is first I'm going to create a model object. So let me create a model package here, and let me pull in the book DTO, right? So paste here. All right. Okay, so I have pasted this from my main microservice. So this is the scenario where I am aware, okay, this is the schema, this is the structure of my response. So in this case, in my book client service, the fourth option is, instead of this, I will say book DTO, list books DTO, and then this all remains same, and then this will become book DTO. All right, so this is how you will write if you have if you are aware about the schema, the book DTO. Okay, so you can see that difference. There is a very subtle difference of the type. Okay, but rest all remain as is. So these are the four different ways of making a get call to the list scenario. All right, so next we are going to perform for save book. So again I will copy this one. Okay, and here this time it's going to be mono, and then this one will be save book, right? But here we are expecting a book DTO, right? So we say book DTO, and then this will become post URI book, and then here we are going to say dot content type media type application JSON. All right, and then here we need to send the body. So body is you have to specify book DTO here, comma, and then you're going to say book DTO dot class like this, and then this will become body to mono. Alright, so let me break it down like this. Alright, so here what we are doing is we are making a post call on the book endpoint, specifying the media type as application JSON. The body we are passing the book DTO, and the important thing here is you need to make sure that you are making it as a provider, like you are wrapping it as a mono, right? So if I open this body method, so here it is looking for a publisher, right? So you need to specify that. If you just remove it right now, it will not show you any error. There is another object producer like this, but it will not work as intended, and you will get some error that cannot convert it to a provider like that. So make sure that you are wrapping it as a mono and not directly passing it, and then retrieve body to mono. That's it. So this is our save book. The next one is update book, which will be exactly same as update book, but the only difference here is instead of making post, we will be making a put call, and rest all will remain as is. All right, then we have a get book by ID. So in get book by ID, can say it will be same as a list one. The only difference is, again, since we are looking for only one record, it will become mono, and here I am going to use the book DTO, this one. Okay, and instead of list books, it will become get book by ID. Okay, and our ID is a integer, and then we say get URI book, and Here you can pass it like this. Okay, let's name it book ID, and you can say book ID and then book ID. All right. Get URI book ID, this one, and then retrieve, then body to. Okay, so this is going to be body to mono, and then again this is going to be a book DTO class. That's it. All right, so here we parameterize it, so this value will be replaced over here. Okay, and this is our get book by ID, and the last one is delete book by ID. So again I will copy this one here, but this time this is going to be a void because we are not returning any book object or any object in this one. We are returning a void. Okay, so we say get delete book by ID, and then again integer book ID same. Here it will become delete. It will become delete URI book, and then again book ID retrieve body to. So here it will not be body to mono. Oh, sorry, it will not be book DTO. It will be void class like this. All right. So let me remove this code, and we have list book string, list books map, list book JSON node, DTO, save book, update book, get. Okay, so let me put it on top so we have all the get in one place. Alright, so get book by ID, save book by ID, save book, update book, and delete book by ID. So these are our get operation. This is our post operation. This is our put operation, and this is our delete operation. Alright, so our client service is ready. Now let's head to our controller to test these out. So let's create a controller package. Okay, and here I'm going to call create a class book client controller. This is going to be our REST controller, and let's say the request mapping we are saying is book client. All right, book client service. Okay, we say all right, and then we can okay. Okay, so we have the client service object with us, and now we can right away go ahead and call our client service. So what I am going to do is I will just copy all these here to make it quick. I am copying all these in my controller. All right, and then I will comment all of them and will refactor each one by one. So first thing, list books or string. So here now we are getting a book client service dot list book string. Okay, that's it. Next one, our map, right? So then again book client service dot list books map. That's it. And then third one is our book client service dot list books JSON node, and then finally for the DTO it will be book client service dot list books DTO. All right, so before checking the others, let's test these one out, and to expose these we need to define their mapping also, right? So we are going to say this is our get mapping, and let's append it with let's say string. So when I invoke book client by / string, then this will get activated. So similarly we can have for each one of them. So this one is for string. For this one, let's make it map. For this one, let's make it JSON node, or let's make it node, and then here let's make it DTO. Alright, so our service is the main microservice is already running, and let's run our client application. So let's quickly start this one. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, our application is started and it's running on 8181 port. So let's quickly test these endpoints first. And let me open the endpoints. Alright, here. So actually ID is showing the endpoints which are used by the web client also in the service. We are not going to refer that. We will only be looking into the controller part. Alright, so first the string one, right? So string one is this one. So let's hit it and we should be expecting the 2 records which is provided during the bootstrapping of the previous service, right? So say submit request, and you can see here the response is returned as a string, right? So alright, now next one is our map. So again, this one, if I'm, let me clear this one out, I make a request, and you can see here it is a map. So basically we are in the response, we are getting 2 map objects. So these are like key value, key value, key value, like this. So this is one map object, and then there is another map with key ID value 2, key title value this, right? So this is another map object. Alright, so this is map, and then if I go with let's clear this one, the node one again. So it looks exactly same as your map, but the difference here is this is your now it is, you will access it as a field. So JSON node, so it's a JSON node object. So you will say that get ID, and then you get a value, then get title, and then you will get this one. And then map is this one, node we get it, and then we clear it out, and let's check the DTO and submit it, right? So here we are getting the response as the DTOs. Okay, so you notice that apart from string, right, where we are getting it as a string, rest all looks identical, and the difference lies is when you are programmatically accessing these objects. So like in case of string, it's going to be a simple string, and in case of map, I'll show you very quickly. So here, if in case of map, if I need to access, I will say so I'm getting a map object here. So let's name it as rec map, record map, okay. And then if I need to access anything, I will say record map dot get get ID. So this will be returning me 1, okay. And now here the expectation is we need to return as a map. So what I will do is I will create a map of key, which is going to be my, this is going to be return 1, and then I will get another map, not this much, but let's say I want it till here, that's it, okay. So now it will return a map which will only contain a key, I mean the ID as 1 and value as like a new book, then another map with the key as 2 and the value as new book, old book, okay. Similarly, now here in case of JSON node, it will become dot map, and then here it will be like, let's say node, JSON node, and here you can directly access, like see this one, field name. So you can say, let's say I want to return just the title. Alright, so it will only return title. And then DTO is again like it's the straightforward one which we do. So it's like simple accessing the getter setter. So we say that okay, with DTO. You can return a DTO, a different DTO, or you can access it like performing any kind of getter setters, like whatever operation you want to perform. Right. So here, let's say I want to set it. I want to set my title, and the title is whatever is coming. I will add it with something like this. Okay, and what it is saying is it's going to be provided object. Okay, because we need to return a DTO, so you can construct a DTO like this. So basically we need to construct this DTO in the first place. So what we can do is you can have a oh sorry, not like this, it will be like this and it DTO like this. Okay, so now here I'm saying is whatever is coming I will appending updated in the title. Okay, and it will return it. So let's quickly test these out, how they will be look like. I will restart my application. Alright, started, and then here in the endpoints I am first okay, string we did not made any change, so that's fine. Let's check the map one first. So here I'm sending the map, and you can see here I'm like the get ID, like ID is the key of the map coming from my service, and here I made it as a key in my new map. Okay, and the value I made it as a new book title. Okay, and then JSON node, if we test the JSON node one, so JSON node is this one. So here I am submitting, I am just retrieving the titles. Okay, and the third one is DTO, so I'll go to DTO and I submit it, and you can see that every title is appended with the updated string. So this is just to demonstrate the difference. The difference lies in how you are accessing the data. Okay, so next one is get book by ID, right? So in the get book by ID, I will uncomment this one, and then again book client service get book by ID, and whatever is coming I will just send it like this. That's it. And then here it will be get mapping, and this one will be I'm appending it with a book ID, and here it will become a path variable. That's it. Alright, so let's quickly test this one. Alright, started. So let's head over here, and this is my book client get ID. So we are getting 1 or 2, right? So let's fetch the second record. So I will say 2. Let me show you that. So this is the request. We are sending get book by ID, book client with ID 2. Alright, so I will submit the request, and I am getting the 2 record. Alright, so this covers our get functionality. So now let's head to the post one. Let's add some data here. Alright, so here I'm going to say mono book DTO save book. Now again, so this one, like in the client controller, it's pretty straightforward. You just say save book DTO. All the complexity we have already covered in our client service over here. So everything is covered over here. Controller is merely invoking the service. That's it. So here it will become post mapping. Okay, and this will become a request body. Okay, So it's a pretty neat feature in this IDE. So as soon as I'm adding the endpoint, so you can see over here getting the post, and here as soon as I mention request body, it frames the body for me also. Okay, so let's do the update also in the same way. So this one will become update, and this is going to be our put mapping, and then here I'm going to say book client service update book and book DTO. That's it. Okay, and the last one is delete. So let's uncomment this one, and then delete book by ID. This will remain as is, and here it will be delete mapping, and in the delete mapping the book ID is coming through the path variable. So say book ID like this, and this will be void delete book by ID, and then here it will be a path variable teacher book ID, and then this one will become not just a mono. We are saying okay, response entity object with void. Okay, the previous one we are sending some definite object, like when saving or retrieving the data. Here we are going to return a void, so we are wrapping it on a response entity, and then here I'm going to invoke book client service. You can remove this dot delete book by ID, and here I'm just passing the book ID. And so this one, what it is saying is it's a response entity void, and it is returning. Okay, fine. So what I'm going to do is I will say then return, and because we are not going to return any kind of data in it, right? So we are going to say response entity dot no content not build, right? That's it. All right, so let's quickly walk through the endpoints. So these ones we have already covered. Now this one we have added a get book by ID, then post mapping of save book, put mapping to update a book, and delete mapping to delete a book by ID. Alright, so now let's restart the application and test all our endpoints. Alright, application started, and let's test the endpoints. So get one we have covered, and first let's add a new one, right? So let's quickly see the map one once. So the map one is returning 2 records, right? So let's add a new one, which is our save, the post one, right? So in the post, what I'm going to do is I will not add the ID because ID will be auto generated by our microservice. So I'm going to say new added book. Okay, and the author is Anshu, publisher is pub company or pubcorp, like this. ISBN is ISBN is 1, and genre is, let's say, fiction. Alright, so we are sending this one, right? And let's submit the request, and here I am getting a response. You can see, though I have not provided the ID, it gets auto generated, and I am getting this in the response, right? So now again, if I invoke that map, I should be getting 3 records now. So let's clear all, and let's send this request, and you can see we are getting the 3. Alright, next one is we need to update our record, right? So what I'm going to do is I will call the get put mapping, right? So put mapping, why it's not showing me the body here? Okay, Okay, my bad. So we haven't added the request body. Alright, I need to restart this one more time. Now it started. So let's quickly see what we have in our map. So we still have that 3 new added book, right? So now I'm going for the put operation of that same book. So since I'm performing an update of an existing object, I am aware about the ID, and I'm saying, let's make it new updated book. Okay, and the author is same, and let's say publisher is updated pub, and ISBN is update 009, and genre is let's say this I have made it non-fiction. All right, so let's submit this request, and you can see it is updated. It updates and gives me the updated object. So we can again cross check it with our map endpoint. I'll submit it, and you see I'm getting the updated one. The last one is the delete book by ID. So here let's invoke that delete operation and finally delete our new book. So I'll say delete book with ID 3, and let's clear it out, and let's submit it, and you can see response body is empty. There is no content. So the operation is successful, and we can cross check that by making again the map call, and let's clear it out, submit it, and you can see now we are holding only 2 objects. Alright, so that's all in this video. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions or feedback, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you and have a nice day.